He's a hard worker, drives you hard and wants to get the absolute max out of every moment. Never settles, but is incredibly inventive and full of fantastic stories. And he's a sweetheart. I'm so full of respect and admiration for him.
When we think of a prolific yet tumultuous career in Hollywood, a name stands out amongst the crowd. In a roller coaster of events, from stardom, rock bottom, and returning as one of the most well-known actors in the industry thanks to his incredible portrayal of his roles and charismatic demeanor. From his hardships to his incredible retribution. This is Robert Downey Jr.
Everybody on the sidewalk!
Now, first of all, Robert, back as Sherlock, back as Iron Man, what is it about those two characters, the two franchises, that kind of just draws you back in?
Got the feeling in your bones, make you feel right at home.
Robert was born on the 4th of April, 1965 in Greenwich Village, New York. His mother, Elsie Downey, was an actress, and his father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground yet fearless visionary director who would go to set the standards for countercultural comedy in the 1960s and 70s.
Did you always feel like you could let the actors go, or is that something you came around to?
Oh, no. You mean my whole life?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times I've worked with non-actors.
Right.
And that's kind of interesting, too, because you get what you get. And once in a while, if you try and force them into what conventional acting is, they don't know what to do. So that's kind of frustrating. With these guys, you can kind of arrive and realize an idea and then ask for another one. And they're more than ready, and then they'll add another one. And it's just, especially with some of these guys, I mean, it was hard to pick what to pick in the editing. It was hard.
Though his original surname was Elias, the Downey name came to light once his father enlisted in the Army. Robert grew up with his sister Allison, and being surrounded by the arts, began to pick up an interest in acting and music from a young age. Robert's close relationship with his father, Robert Downey Sr., landed the young Robert a role in his father's film, Pound, in 1970. This would be Robert's first appearance on screen, playing the role of a sick dog.
Morning we go upstairs, there's no more furniture, the roof's gone, and so's my hair. That tornado scared me so much it made my hair disappear.
Have any hair on your balls?
Well, were you improvising back then, or because that line seemed a little unorthodox for a 5-year-old?
It didn't. I still, God bless my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it easier or more difficult to work for your dad?
Easier.
Why?
Because he's my dad, you know, he knows me so well. And also I think he genuinely is concerned with nothing but my well-being as an artist in this art form. So he has no agenda other than helping me explore myself. And in this case, the darker, more twisted aspects of my psyche.
Does he push you harder than other directors? Or do you want to work
He
harder?
pushes me easier, you know. It's like he knows I'm gonna give 1,000%. And he just kind of sets a stage for me. Yeah, he expects a lot, you know. He expects a lot.
Unfortunately, the young Robert's childhood was not one of stability. Drugs surrounded the young boy and his sister throughout their household. And by the age of just 7 years old, Robert Downey Sr. would offer his son a joint of marijuana, and young Robert reciprocated. Unfortunately, such experience would act as a gateway for Robert, and this would go on to be the greatest regret his father ever possessed, knowing almost immediately that it was a terrible decision. At the age of 13, Robert's parents would get divorced. His sister, Allison, would move to an alternative boarding school in Vermont, whilst Downey Jr. would move from New York to Los Angeles, California, with his father. The idea of school didn't sit well for the young Robert. With the inspirations from his family still lingering, in 1982, he dropped out of Santa Monica High to pursue his dream of a full-time acting career. Now, 18, Robert returned to his roots in New York rather than break into Hollywood.
On one level, I'm happy to be a working actor, you know? The odds for that going on are pretty slim. And on the other hand, I felt like I never really paid that much attention. And I think part of that was from wanting to be cavalier or non-committal, so if it all blew up in my face, I could say, well, that's not what I really wanted to do anyway, you know? Because at a certain point, this sentence came in my head of, you can't do that, you know? And it seemed to really make sense. It didn't seem like it was really, you know, the devil's advocate part of me doing it, like it was just the logical part doing it, so, you know, I mean.
You felt like, to the point where you just kind of felt like running the other way, you mean?
Sure. I mean, you put on a tramp outfit, you know, and go try to, you know, make it where you just go like, you know, it's not often that it's possible.
He chose to work on small productions, such as Firstborn in 1984. Here, Robert would get his first glimpse at romance. He met Sarah Jessica Parker on set, and the two were immediately smitten with one another. They would soon form a loving relationship, and the couple moved into a house within only weeks after meeting. Over time, his former co-star and lover, Sarah, would become more and more concerned of Robert's behavior as it became apparent a serious drug habit was forming. Eventually, she felt supporting him was more akin to being a mother than a girlfriend. In 1985, Robert joined the cast for Saturday Night Live following the return of host Lorne Michaels. Alongside Robert, the new cast would go on to include Dennis Miller, John Lovitz, and Anthony Michael Hall, all of whom were selected to boost the show's ratings. In the same year, Robert had acting breakthroughs while working on Tough Turf and Weird Science. Though not a core member, he would go on to be associated with the Brat Pack, a group of young actors predominantly featured in the John Hughes American teen films.
Second thing, it makes me feel so good that you, for lack of a better term, you've escaped the clutches of that so-called Brat Pack thing, where you're on your own as an actor. Does that bother you when you're associated with those people and they say, oh, Downey, oh, yeah, he's one of those guys who's whatever?
Well, it's funny because I've never been in the room with any of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess, I don't know, you know. I'm just, you know, whatever.
Well, you know what I mean. What I'm saying is that a lot of people think that you're just associated with just a group of young guys who came along at a certain time and doing that certain kind of movie.
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, does that bother you when people do that? When they?
I don't know. I think what bothers me is when I'm not happy with my work in a film and everything else is pretty much secondary. I mean, you know, career-wise, I mean.
He attended the premieres with Sarah Jessica Parker